There's a praise on the inside that I can't keep to myself. There's a holler stirring up in the depths of my soul. Nothing. So excuse me if there's a praise on the inside. Okay. So excuse me if I forgot the words now. Oh, seem a little giddy or even strange. Praise is the way I say thanks. That just came to me right now, so I'm going to sing it again. Praise is the way I say thanks. There's a praise on the inside that I can't keep to myself. There's a holler stirring up from the depths of my soul. So excuse me if I seem a little giddy or even strange, 'cause praise is the way I say thanks. Praise is the way I say thanks. I'll do that one more time. There's a praise on the inside that I can't keep to myself. There's a holler stirring up from the depths of my soul. So excuse me if I seem a little giddy or even strange, 'cause praise is the way I say thanks. Yes, it is. Praise is the way I say thanks. Thank you. Praise is the way I say thanks. Amen. So the devil is good and mad. Good and mad, good and mad. And it's all good. It's all good. Thank you all for coming back and joining me today as we continue with our series on childhood trauma, using August Alsina and his story to get it out. Hi, and I mess it up every time. Miss, what do you think it says? I want to add musica to the end. To God be the glory. Hi, Tony Jones. Thank you for coming in. That's the one thing that I did not do, was share this out on any of my platforms. But y'all, it's been a rough morning. I did sleep well last night. But when I got off, it was a little heavy. I worried a little bit about family and them possibly being upset with me, because a lot of what I shared, they've heard some before, but not all. And not to mention, my mother has passed. So that's almost like, how dare you talk about someone when they're not here? But it's not talking about someone when you're doing it with the hopes of breaking cycles, when you're doing it with the hopes of setting others free. And the one thing that I know about my mother is she didn't believe in allowing people to go through what she's going through, or go through something she's gone through before. Her philosophy was, why do you have to experience or I don't even know what this is. Okay. Why do you have to experience it if I've already gone through it? And so I can appreciate that about her. So when it came to mom, I felt okay. I felt good. I'm good, Minister Terrence. I'm great. Hey, Miss Sheila, thank you for coming in. Hey, Mr. Fulton, thank you for sharing me out. I need your prayers for my friend Dusty. He had surgery yesterday, and he is very, very sick today. Pray for him. Well, God, we pray for Dusty right now in the name of Jesus. We know that, God, that you are the God of healing, that you can do the impossible. So right now we pray for Mr. Fulton's friend Dusty, and that he gets better, even though he had surgery on yesterday, that you do what only you can do. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen. Hey, Miss Sheila, thank you for coming in. Positive pusher. I think you on my praise team, because I had to bring myself out of it, because I was about to go into praise is what I do when I want to be close to you. I lift my hands in praise. Y'all know I don't know lyrics. Praise is who I am. I'm a praising while I can. I'll make up my own lyrics all day long. And I vow to praise you. And that's fact. Through the good and the bad. Hey, Motivate One. I'll praise you. Whether happy or sad, I'll praise you. In all that I go through, because praise is what I do. And I owe it all to you. Okay, let's get into this topic. Oh Lordy. So last night was rough. Lyrics on the go. Late to the party, but greetings to Aisha of Memphis. Finna go downtown, watching you live on YouTube from Philadelphia. I appreciate you. Perfect voice, my thank you. Is it Bo Chow? Thank everyone for coming in. I appreciate you. And I'm doing well, Minister Terrence. I'm doing well. So last night we kind of left off with August Alsina, and we were talking about the state of emergency documentary that he did that actually started in 2015. And at that time, he was 22 years old. And I talked about how it was right after his interview with Angela Yee that I still hadn't watched yet. And it was right after the interview with Angela Yee, and it was right before Jada went ahead and confessed that there was an affair. Now, if I wanted to be on the trend or wanted to take off in YouTube land, the opportune time for me to have started talking about this documentary, this docuseries, would have been after Jada acknowledged her truth. Truthfully, either time would have been okay. But I couldn't, because I wasn't really ready to deal with it. It hit me in a lot of places. It made me realize that, even all the things that I went through as a child, that there are a lot of other people that have gone through and experienced the exact same thing. Um, when I got off live last night, my home was very somber. My kids immediately came in the room. My son, first thing he says is, "Let's talk about this copyright claim," and he proceeds to explain to me what occurred. So last night was a copyright claim; it wasn't a strike, which I'm totally fine with that. I just have to figure out still how to do it, because it's imperative for you to not only hear his words but see his reactions to his words. Um, and how you could literally see him holding the chair because he's being braced for impact. So it's important to be able to see what I'm talking about for it to be as effective. So today, thankfully, I don't have to use. Why am I paused? I'm like, come on now, don't y'all start this mess. Um, Today, I don't have to use any video because I will be basically speaking about what happened last night, about what my feelings were, and about the feelings of even my husband in the conversation, because I knew something was different with him, but he wouldn't. I wouldn't say wouldn't. He just was like, "I'm good. I'm good. I'm good." And today, the word finally hit him, and it was sad. He was like, it was just sad. But the truth is, that's life for a lot of inner city kids. It's sad. It's probably a little bit sadder because you heard some of my realities, and you're looking at me like, how did she go through that? How did she do that? Why would anybody do that? But the unfortunate fact is, this happens to children more often than not. We see it, we hear it, and we have to uh, address it and deal with it. And so that's where today's topic come from. So in today's topic, I'm talking still about episode 1, and he named episode 1 "You Were Planted," and he used a clip from Bishop T.D. Jakes that says, "You were planted so that it can be greater. When you plant a seed so that it can become greater when it comes up than what it was when it went down." And he ended up naming that title "You Were Planted." And so for me today, the topic is, do you know the history of the soil used to plant you? Do you know the history of the soil used to plant you? Do you? Do you know the history of the soil used to plant you? So what do I mean by that? The last year of my mom's life, being able to have a open dialogue conversation with her, being able to get some apologies, being able to talk about some things that weren't okay, but without bringing out the super horrible stuff, because she's in her last stages of life, and that's not what I want her to have to talk about or think about. But to learn from her what her childhood was like, to learn from her what my grandparents were like with her, to learn how she feels about each of her siblings individually and why, to learn the roles of each sibling in the house and how it's contributed to them growing up, to learn the relationship with her and my dad, and the the complexities of it and me being the most complex piece of it all. Um, to learn all of that helped me. I had already made a decision to love her anyway. Thankfully, I was already at a place of being mature enough to say, she did the best she could with what she had and what she knew how to do. Um, so having been at that place and then learning these things and then being able to even ask some questions. Hi, Miss Sylvia. Um, I pray I spoke to everybody. Um, to ask her, Mama, why didn't you have an abortion? And I asked her. Um, and I asked her because I really wanted to know, did she choose to have me? Were abortions not um, legal back then? Like, why? I asked the question. And she said, because I didn't know I was pregnant with you. By the time I found out I was pregnant with you, I was already 36 weeks. So there was no abortion, there was no adoption. Okay. So, do you know the history of the soil used to plant you? Why is that important? So many things are passed on gen from generation to generation that we're even unaware of. Have you ever seen a child who has, and it's crazy because I think it's probably the end of this first episode or the second episode, but a child that has not been around their father or has not been around their mother, but acts just like them? I have a nephew whose father is no longer with us, and he's 17 now. But throughout his life, I was just amazed at how much he was like his dad, and you didn't even spend time with him. And even now, like his dad would sing all the time randomly in the house. He would just, and he's the same way. Hey, CeeLo. Oh, it's the same topic. Just cleaning some bushes and brushes away. Same topic. So yeah, whether I don't know if that's considered deep or not. Um, but he acts just like his father, and it's like, whoa, how is that possible? But that is because DNA, it holds a place. Um, it does. It doesn't mean that you're any less family because you have a particular DNA versus another someone else's DNA, but it does hold some weight. So I don't apologize for whatever feelings you guys walked away with, if that makes sense. My suggestion is deal with those feelings, talk about it, get it out, don't hold on to it. Make sure that was all that I needed to say. Yes, that's all I had. Derek says genetic lineage is a hell of a thing. I know in many ways I'm like Jimmy. Absolutely. Sylvia M. Dallas says, since we are using gardening terminology, do you think you can change the soil? Ooh! Do you think you can change the soil you are now? Based on what I know about gardening, and I'm not talking about how we can do tomatoes in a particular area. I think that the soil is the soil. I think you can till the soil to break up the soil. I think you can bring in additional soil to make the soil better and richer and moist and more um, conducive to growth. But what's planted is the seed. And so the soil, it is, it is what it is. It's gonna be there, but you can do things to the soil. So how do we change the soil that we're in, or where our growth sparks? Because it's easy to say, oh, you can repot it. Well, are we talking about potting soil, or are we talking about land? And when we're talking about land, you're not repotting. But what you can do is add to it. You can add value to it. You can add. I remember my grandma used to get these little white miracle grow things that she would put in the aloe vera plant in the house. I remember repotting and shaking the what do you call it, the root, to try to get the stuff off to get it in a new pot. But here's the thing, you still put some old soil in the new pot. So can I change the soil around me now? Yes. I can't replace it, but I can change it. I can add to it. I can till it. I can soften it. There's so much that I can do. I have done. When I think about it, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I got some hella moments. Y'all caught one last night when it just hit me like, hell no, this didn't make me better. Um, is in there, like ragu is in there. Um, but the soil that I'm in now is a good soil. Um, I have a husband that helps me to process these things when I have these moments like that. Like last night, if I can be just totally transparent with you guys, while talking to you, I was having to write stuff down because new things were coming up that I had totally forgotten about, that I had totally blocked out. There's so much of my childhood that I have blocked out intentionally. And until we deal with pluck up, address, move the trash, till the ground, we're not going to grow successfully. Um, Dre says genetics can be a blessing and a curse. Absolutely. CeeLo said, yes, I think you can change the soil. Derek says, Jimmy wasn't and isn't perfect, but I am his son and I pattern myself after him. He's introspective, cares about fellow man, but I ain't scared to speak his mind, and it is for right. And so Jimmy. um, and so Derek, the key is none of us are perfect. I didn't have a perfect mom. And me saying I didn't have a perfect mom, let's be very clear, is not for me to down my mom. This is for awareness. This is for us to break cycles. This is for us to be willing to look at and evaluate ourselves. This is for us to make sure some of this mess doesn't go on to our grandchildren. It doesn't change. I'm a firm believer that God gave us the parents that He wanted us to have, whether they birthed us or not. He gave us the people that He wanted to sow what He needed to be sown into our life. But at the end of the day, that doesn't take away a child not feeling loved. That doesn't take away the fact that, Christmas and birthday, you go all out. But any other day, I can get popped. And I'm not just talking about a small pop, any type of way. And I didn't even see it coming. That it doesn't take any of that away. That stuff is still there. Dre said there are always ways to enhance the soil. It's all about the way you garden that plant. But the seed is the seed. Absolutely. Water can change the soil. There is new life in living water. Dre said you cannot get an apple from a free tree. Fig tree. Absolutely. Sylvia says repotting can leave you pot bound. It keeps the roots restricted. As silo transformation by the living word can change the composition of the seed. Hey, you preaching, Miss Sylvia. Derek says Connie was the same in this sense. She cared for her fellow man, but fully understood folks have to have some stuff with them, and never was the go along to get along type. Um, and my mama would give you the shirt off her back. She had a heart of gold, and that sounds again so complex, so confusing. How is a child supposed to understand those emotions, those feelings? You don't. Even as an adult, you can't process that. As an adult, I wouldn't fool with her because those aren't the type of people that I just kick it with. I just know I don't know, but that was my mother, so I had to, and I loved her. Um, Dre said, Miss Sylvia, big facts. Minister Terrence says, so true. Derek says, bingo host. Like I said last night, by definition, you go through what you went through. You're better today because of it, ironically speaking. No, I still disagree. I'm not better because of that. And I don't want to use the word damaged, but unfortunately, it's just like nerves. When a nerve get damaged, there's the likelihood of that nerve coming back to life is slim, but it can. In order for me to be free, I'm damaged. There are parts of me that's damaged that I have to work on, that I have to pray about, that I have to ask God to heal me with. I shouldn't be 40 something years or 30 something years from an event of almost seeing my dad get killed to where I still can't stand any loud bumps and knockings and no, that's not normal. I'm not better for it because of that. I shouldn't be always one that watches my gardens looking around me because I'm worried about somebody sneaking up on me and hitting me. No, I'm not better for it. I'm damaged. Now, there are pieces of, did I learn from it? Yeah. I know what I didn't want to do to my children. I learned what my limits are. But am I better? No. And I have to be very, very honest about that. No, it didn't make me who I am today. It put some what's the word I'm looking for? Some no, it took something that was so innocent from me, and that's just being a child. And we only think about, innocence being taken away when it's molestation or when it's sex. No, abuse takes away a child's innocence because a child you have to immediately go into survival mode. And do you know what it feels? You've been in the military. You're retired. You're out now. Can you imagine living in survival mode your entire life? And I get it. We have racial tensions. We have this, we have that. A child should not have to experience those things, period. Aisha, we are being perfected by our trials and our temptations, our pains, etc. We learn from them and we grow. We learn from them and we grow. That's absolutely true. But I'm not going to give credit to being bitten, treated like trash, and say I'm better for it. No. Dre says, Derek, I get what you're saying. The bad things force certain behavior, but baggage is thank you. But baggage is still carried around. And he can say that because he sees it on a daily basis. He sees me, and I wish we were doing this together. He sees me struggle not to be like my mother. That don't mean I don't love her, but he sees me struggle daily to be better. Hey, Blacklight Records, thank you for coming in, King. Derek says, here you go, host. You recognize these things and are trying to seek answers. Parents of yesterday wouldn't even broach the question. To me, that's progress. That is progress. That's progress. But I'm not better because of it. Dre said, oh, I'm sorry. Derek says, bingo to both your points. Yeah. Better not for it, but instead of it. Yeah. Now that I can roll with. Yeah. I'm not better because of it. Mm-mm. Aisha went through a series of molestations as a child. I had to learn to deal with fear. I had to learn to trust. I had to learn to be in thriving mode and not surviving mode. Thriving mode. Okay. Motivate One says soil is the environment, seed is the essence of the thing in person. Whatever a man sows, that shall he reap. Hi, Carter Club. Thank you for coming in. Whew. Um, I'm just reading over Miss Sylvia's post again because I'm a reserve the right to comment later on that one, Miss Sylvia, just because I really want to process it. Because definitely I've had to learn how to deal with fear. I've had to learn how to deal with trust. I've actually been working on the whole thriving, surviving, and trying to see if thriving is even a better place. But us as individuals learning to do those things doesn't erase what happened. And I think that's kind of where I'm stuck at because it happened. But to see that this young man is at minimum 13 years younger than me, and he experienced the same thing. That's, hold on, I can't turn my arm that way. Hopefully y'all can see it. Yeah. It's Apple letting me know that I'm getting a little, yeah. And it's still happening. Children are still being faced with this. I have literally been in the Social Security office where I watched a woman cuss out a child that I don't even think was quite 2, but I'll give her 2. And I remember posting on Facebook, if this lady cussed this baby out one more time, y'all gonna have to come and get me because this is a problem. And this is a problem because we've made it okay. We don't say anything about it. We use the excuse of I'd rather beat you than the police to beat you. I'd rather keep you alive than the police to kill you. Motivate One, that, yeah. She said, our parents sow both good and bad in us. We then are trying to sow better seed on more fertile ground so we can reap what is greater. Yeah. And for me, I'm sorry, but we about to get real raw because I'm not even gonna. For me, I I don't even have to reap the benefits. If what I do prevents another child from having to go through what I went through because I talked about it, that's good. If this will prevent my children from having to experience these feelings because I talked about it, that's good. Um, I don't even have to reap the benefit. Derek says, and because of their progress, you'll parent better than your parent. A beautiful thing. That's the mistake that we make, Derek. We think that because we've gone through it and we don't want it to happen to our children, we're not going to do that to them until that moment you're pushed at a breaking point and then something happens and you find yourself doing or saying something that you regret that was said to you because it's in you. So until you, and I'm just talking to me when I say you, until it's dealt with, it's going to come up. It's going to come up. No ifs, ands, buts about it. It is going to come up. Now, never call my children anything other than their names or any loving nickname that I've given them. Um, Never hit them with my fist. Never hit them in their face. Never bit them. Never did any of those things to them. Um, but have I hit one of them just off guard where it caught me off guard and caught them off guard? Absolutely. Absolutely. And there have been plenty of times I've had to retreat to my corner and my kids don't even know it and I cry. And it's because I didn't touch them or anything. It's because I feel something on the inside of me that I don't like. And I know where it comes from. So I'm just saying, if it's there, deal with it. Don't assume because you're gonna be better that you're gonna be better. Like Record says, their ignorance is enslaved generations of us, but we are now tasked to break that enslavement for our seed. Yes, we must remain angry at our abusers, but also use that abuse to inform others. Yes, I agree. And well, let me back up. I'm not angry. I'm not angry with my mom. My mom did the best she knew how to do. She even had the conversation with me saying, I did what I thought was right. I did what was done to me. So that lets me know this is a generation of stuff. But my job now is to educate, make awareness, put it out there, put it on the table so that we can get the help that we need if it's needed. Ba, 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 ba. Wasn't in the key, so I don't need McDonald's coming for me. They already. Um, There's just a keep in mind. I said, ironically speaking, you progress because of the trauma. I know I'm a better parent than my dad because of what I experienced, but not the experience itself. I hear you. Sylvia says, Black Light Records, I don't agree about staying angry. I believe in forgiving and moving on. I recognize that I seem to do it easier than some. Miss Sylvia, I agree with you. Staying angry takes too much energy. So, and especially with someone that I am supposed to love. But even that, staying angry, it takes too much. Dre says thriving is the ability to use your circumstances and succeed, while surviving is just making it through situation after situation. Derek says, I did a video last night and I highlighted what a grown man did to a baby. Horrendous behavior that we pass on to our children. At CeeLo, absolutely. CeeLo says we have to protect our children. And we're the village. Like it's all of us. Sylvia said Blacklight Records, however, I think staying angry is taking on a burden that you don't need to carry. Miss Sylvia, you are preaching. Do you hear me? This live alone adds value, host. That's all we can do. Absolutely. It adds value. It adds value. I just can't give any credit to the situation that put me here to talk about it, because keep in mind, my choice. This channel is about being uh, a safe place to have the uncomfortable but necessary conversations filled with joy, love, peace, all of that. And this topic is sad. It's deep. It's one of those that, like, I really didn't want to come back and talk about it today, not because I wasn't finished, but because I don't want to feel this stuff. I don't want it surfacing back up. I don't want it coming to the forefront. But the truth is, how am I living freely if I don't deal with it? Aisha, it has to be dealt with, and the stronghold must be broken. Absolutely, Miss Sylvia. Absolutely. Blacklight Workers is true, but staying angry keeps us woke and present. Also, anger does not negate forgiveness. That's true, and the Bible talks about righteous anger. That is true. I just don't have the energy to be angry. Okay, thank you, Motivate One. I mean, so I'm going back to Miss Sylvia and Dre's um comment. I'm just gonna have to put a lot of thought into that one. Yeah, I'm going to post the link to the chat. If anybody would like to come up and say anything. It's 1:30. Have I missed any medicine? Definitely needed. I had to Aisha, sometimes we have to dive deep to dip, and that's where I am. And that's why I'm talking about this, because watching those, it was a 5-part documentary series, but watching it brought up feelings. And then even last night, more feelings were attributed to it that I had kind of forgot about and blocked out. And it just gave me this right here. The normalization of abuse led to parents abusing their children. Yes. There's a video that circulated on YouTube, and because I don't know if I can share it, but if I can, if I figure this thing out, I will show that video. And it shows where, in 1 second there, where a mom went to the kid's school to whip his behind, and she the divide within the community period with people that said, oh, she did the right thing, and I'm looking like, where is the love in that? You all in his face, if she got to call me again, you young, just going out off, where is, I don't know. Hey, Derek.
Yes, ma'am. Salute, shout out, and respect due to Aisha Memphis. Was good with you, partner?
It's good. Slow motion for me.
Yeah, I think I know the video you talking about. Yeah, she lit that little boy up. She was you because I think she actually was talking so fast. She ended up, I think, if it's the same video, she ended up accidentally spitting on the teacher. If that's the video you talking about, this woman, she was tearing this boy up. She was
Mm-hmm.
tearing this boy up for no reason. Just she was
It's
killing this
good.
boy.
Slow motion for me.
Yeah, I think I know the video you talking about. Yeah, she lit that little boy up. She was okay. All right. Well, yeah. So if that's the same video you're talking about, but yeah, I just want to let you know
Oh,
again,
I
like
wasn't waving by to you. I was waving hi to Peter. Cause he's so.
Wagwan. Yeah, I just was gonna say, yeah, yes, sir, I'm doing well. How you? Yeah, yeah. I just was gonna say real quick. The thing is, I just want to make clear, no child should be hurt. No, never. You supposed to raise these kids or don't have no kids. But the fact is that this stuff does go on, and you do pass on stuff generation. I can't even say it from generation to generation with your sire, and
Yeah.
that's wrong. But I was just what I was trying to say is that you see these things, you experience these things, and you know what not to do going forward from the day you are a parent. And
Mm-hmm.
so for that reason, that's the reason why I said like you can't help but be better because that is bad behavior. You
Mm-hmm.
don't pattern the behavior. It may be in you, but you see it, you recognize it, and you do everything you can to stop it in its tracks. And
Mm-hmm.
so the parents of yesteryear, again, my dad was born in 1941. He ain't trying to. He couldn't parent today. If you brought my dad in the 1970s, the way they parented in the 2020s, they will put him in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a new day. And so for
Mm-hmm.
that reason, I was saying you saw you because of what you went through. Sadly, unfortunately, you know not to do that to your children. So by definition, you are a better parent. That's what I was trying to say. But no, not the experience. No, 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 no. The experience is wrong. Cause what I heard you say your mama did to you is the same thing my dad when he damn near beat me to death for standing up for my mama. That was wrong. I'm not if I was ever to get into it with my daughter's mama and my daughter says something, I'm gonna punch my daughter. No,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to talk to my daughter, but I'm not gonna do what my dad did. But they was just different. Just
No,
long and
no,
short, they just different.
but this is the part that I want to be very clear about. They weren't different. They were using a technique that was used on them to control them. At what point do we let that go?
Well, that's right. I got you. Exactly. They only because you said yourself a minute ago. They only did what they knew in that time, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's see. I guess maybe we just disconnect on the words. What I'm trying to say is that they only use what they did for their time. We're
Mm-hmm.
using what we experienced from them in their time and go a different route.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna bang like your mama did. You're just not
Mm-hmm.
gonna do it. I'm not gonna parent the way Jimmy did me. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
because of what I saw. What I saw was wrong. What I saw was hurtful, and I can't, in good conscience, as a parent, do that to mine. I can't. In other words, I can't keep the cycle going.
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong.
Here's, I guess, and this is the overall question. What confuses me is, if, and this is just me saying slaves, if slaves were beaten, and it's not if, we know they were beaten, we have
Mhm.
seen the scars, how does that convert to love?
It doesn't. How can it? It doesn't.
But that's
That
what it
that
comes
was
across as when you're getting beat. And then I know for a fact I got beat back so bad one time I couldn't go to school for 3 days because I had whelps and scars all over my body.
me. That was me.
How do we
That was me.
how does that get transition to love though?
It doesn't. But just the same, I said in your chat room, I love Jimmy. That's my dad.
Yeah.
Now go figure that is crazy. But that's what he did. So I can't answer that question. I don't think anybody can answer that question. The fact is that that's rooted out of sheer hate. We were
Mhm.
beaten because the slave masters beat us. So we filter that on through.
Mhm.
That's all. So you can't quantify that. You
Mhm.
beat me. In our case, like you said, the child lied to you.
Mhm.
For us, where we come from in Mississippi, that's a punishable that is an offense punishable by whooping. Period. But again, for us in our generation, we try to stop the whoopings if we can. But just the same, that's something that's ingrained in the South. Good luck with uprooting it. So when you said whooping, it didn't shake me, but it may shake somebody in Los Angeles.
Right.
I don't know. So I would have to let you judge on that. But that love you talking about was started through hate, and
Mhm.
that's not good. So
Mhm.
that's pretty much all I want to say. I see other people on here. I'm gonna go on and drop back down and go downtown and just thank you for having me on your platform,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Lloyd,
dear, for always coming up.
and other people. Salute to y'all. All right, y'all take care.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
CeeLo says, host, I'm here in the chat to show support. I know sharing is a part of healing. Thank you, CeeLo. And for those that don't know, CeeLo is my family. She's my first cousin. Um, so she knows. They know.
Hey, Iseashia,
It's
can you pronounce your
Aisha.
name
Hey,
for
Miss
me?
Sylvia. Uh-huh.
Aisha. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about well, firstly, I'm gonna be
Okay.
upfront
Peter,
with everything
I was
because
gonna say
Peter
Peter's up
knows.
here too. Peter Lloyd.
Yeah, I see him. Peter knows that I do spank my children, my grandchildren, I should
Mm-hmm.
say. And I'm in a situation where they are being raised in a dichotomy,
Mm-hmm.
meaning the parent doesn't necessarily work with me
Mm-hmm.
to help foster certain kinds of principles with them.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm not anxious to beat them. I'm not anxious to whoop them. I try to talk to them. I let them know that, listen, when you cross this line,
Mm-hmm.
this is a possibility that this is going to happen. So I'm going to give an example. My eldest grandson, who I refer to my as my number one grandson on Facebook sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
he and I are very close. But he has a thing, this disrespect and this thing that he would do to his teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So one teacher's day years ago, I went and the teacher complained about how he was looking at her, and I know what it was about. So I called him and in the presence of the teacher, and I said, your teacher says you're doing XYZ. And he says, and he gives the teacher the same look right in front of me. Right? And I said to him, okay, this is how it's going to go. Your teacher has my number. If I have to be called off my work because you know this is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
it's one out of two things. You're going to have $7,000 to pay me. 7,000 Jamaican dollars an hour was my rate. Or
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to spank you right here in front of your friends so you can know that disrespect is not an option for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 weeks later, I got a call. And not only was it disrespect to the teacher, there was fighting in class, which was a definite no no with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, do you have the $7,000? No, grandma. So I said, well, take off your belt. And I give him about six good whopping on his bottom. I'm not into the beat up and whatever. And he has never done it again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah, but see, but that's
Hold on,
my
hold on,
problem
hold on.
with it.
Hold on, Peter, hold on.
You know, we had this
Hold
conversation
on.
many times.
We will never agree on this. We know that.
No, but
You and I are
let
best
me
friends.
say
But
what I
hold on,
need to
let me
say.
finish
Hold on.
saying what I'm saying about my
Okay,
grandson.
baby girl, go ahead,
All
baby.
right. One of the things is that he knows I am not anxious to hit him. I'd rather sit and talk with him. But I believe he has to know that if he crosses this line, there is a price to pay for that line. Stop, Peter. I can hear you gearing up. Just hold on. Um, Also, one of the things too I find is if you say this is the punishment for this, and they cross that line, and you forgive, and you forgive, and you forgive, but you never implement whatever the punishment is, then you're never taken seriously. All right, Peter, fire away.
Okay, Aisha, Queen Aisha, you know I love you.
Yes, sir.
Sylvia, I love you.
I know.
Here is our reality, and we often, when we have these conversations, we don't discuss this. We went through 500 years of being whooped, beaten, abused, raped, pillaged by our masters, by our monsters. These monsters then very cleverly converted us to Christianity and then selected the parts of Christianity that just justified this horrific abuse of us as human beings, which is beat your pit to them or they're never going to come out straight.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I have to say to you: all human behavior is learned.
Mm-hmm.
Aisha, your mom did that to you because that's what she was taught. You can go back 400, 500 years, they were taught, they were to vilify, to I have never seen any instance where parents beating children work. We are continuing the slave master's role. We are telling our young kings and our young queens that you deserve this abuse because you disobeyed an order or you disobeyed something. That scar is left on us. There was someone I know very well, an amazing mind who's completely messed up because she was abused by her mother in a way that it's almost unrecognizable. And her mother till today refuses to say she did something wrong because her mother said, that's what I was taught. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
when you abuse your child, you do something very damaging to them. Let me tell you what you do to them. You teach them not to think.
Mm-hmm.
I have two girls. I have never put my hand on my daughters. One is finishing her master's. Never had a problem with her. My 14-year-old never had a problem with her. You know why? Because from they were in their mother's womb, I started to teach them to think, process the information, work it out. When you simply say, don't do this or I will hit you, that doesn't work.
All right,
So
let
we
me
have
wait till you
wait, let me
finish.
finish. We have
Mhm.
generations of individuals who have grown up without the capacity to think. One, two. We don't realize that we're doing what those disgusting slave masters did to us. Understanding now that programming a human being takes a long time to unprogram.
Mm-hmm.
So this mad justification of I must hit the child is insanity. It doesn't work. I have never seen it work. No matter what we think, no matter where we're coming from, it doesn't work. And here's what's frightening, and this is what terrified me when I started to travel. White people that beat them pitney, they very rarely do. That scared me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, why don't they beat their children though? That doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that there aren't exceptions, but they figured out
Mm-hmm.
very early. Oh, and by the way, 500 years ago in Africa, we never beat the pitney.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if I can, before y'all say
Taught
something.
this insane line of you've been damaged because your mom was damaged, and
Mm-hmm.
her mom was damaged, and her mom
So if I
was
can,
damaged.
before y'all say something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Something that my youngest daughter taught me, with her
So for
having.
me, that's the problem. It's coming from a place I see a rational way to do this. But most of us when we hit our child, it's either anger, right? Well, my mama did this. Go ahead. Sorry, Aisha. I apologize.
No, no, you're
I
fine.
apologize.
I was just gonna say what my
Yeah.
youngest
I'm
daughter
just saying
taught me.
abuse cannot come from a place of love. Think about this.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that also.
I agree.
Abuse doesn't come from love.
I agree.
Yeah.
My
Abuse, just think about it rationally. Abuse and love cannot coexist in the same statement.
no.
It is impossible. Think about it. Abuse and love cannot coexist.
Yeah.
Punishment is a different thing. You don't have to hit someone to punish them. There are far more effective ways to punish people.
Yeah.
I've seen mothers hit the son until the son say, "Mommy, you waste time, you know."
Mm-hmm.
You want to reach a person, you have to reach this. You don't reach this, you're never going to accomplish that goal. We need, as people of color, to stop abusing our children. We need to understand that this is a lie that was taught to us by the enemy. And I'm not referencing white people. I'm talking about those people who did that to our ancestors. They were the enemy. The enemy is not going to do anything because they care about you.
Yeah.
Teach your children to think. Find other ways to punish your children.
Yeah.
The old saying, teach the person to fish and I give the fish every day.
Mm-hmm.
And why we as a community fall in this trap where the first we do is we do this. That's what we were taught. Come from a place of love about it. It's very obvious. It is quite simply impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I have to say. We are great people.
Yes.
Once we start seeing this from a place of love, we start to get it.
Yes.
This thing about spare rod and spoiled child, it's a lie. I will never concede this because I've never had to hit. I have my nephews grow up with me. Never put my hand on them. None of them are in trouble. Most children, if you love them enough and you work with them, because they're children. When I was 12, I was an idiot. Come on. When I was 10, I was worse. When we're children, we have no sense. It's hard to process. Sylvia, that teacher could be annoying your grandchild. I didn't care help. When we get older, we learn to lie, Young
Yes,
children
yes,
can't lie.
Peter.
They don't lie
I
hard.
understand that,
In
but he
just
wasn't
don't
that
like
young.
hard.
I know my grandson. Okay,
He's
I
still a
have seen.
teenager. And what I'm trying
I
to say
have.
to you
Oh
is,
no, 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 no.
listen,
Hold on,
all
Peter,
I'm saying
Peter,
is, I'm not telling you how to grow your child. I'm simply
Peter.
saying,
But what
remember
I'm
these
saying is
two
that
basic statements.
you know the
Abuse
circumstances that
and
I
love
am working
cannot
with.
exist in the same space. No, I'm not speaking to you at you. I'm saying we need to deal with this. Two very basic things. The enemy conned all of us. It's a lie. It's a fabrication because hitting someone, abuse them. Think about it. Reasoning with someone opens their mind. Reasoning with a child says to the child, wait a minute, I have the right to think. I have the right to process. I have the right to make decisions. But when you hit the child, you're saying, shut up and go sit in the corner. We don't realize what we're doing. And what we do is we create generations of beautiful, amazing people who I love so much. And we hurt these people. I want us to break free. Break free from the lies of the oppressor. Understand where this came from. It didn't come from Africa. It didn't come from our ancestors. It was taught to us. It's a lie. There was one time in the Bible where the Christ picked up a whip and hit with people. And what did he do? He was angry. That's why he did it. He didn't do it from a place of love. They were selling, they were gambling and stuff in the temple, and he lost it. The only time he did this, every time he opened his mouth, it came from a place of absolute love, even when it shouldn't have. We are great people. If you know your history, you start figuring it out. Aisha, what you went through was wrong. It was wrong. But I'm really proud of the fact that you are standing here in your truth and saying to us, this is wrong. This doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying to all of you, I'm not any of you, but just remember these simple things. These words were to you by your enemy. Do not get it confused. They were your enemy. They didn't enslave us because they liked us.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And therefore, as a slave, is if you learn to read and write. That should tell you a lot of stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
We must learn as a community to start thinking. Speak from a place of love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why did the child do that? What was the reason for the child doing that? And then when you are angry as a parent, this is what I've learned. Step away from the child because you're going to make wrong decisions when you're angry. Just step away, walk away,
Mm-hmm.
suppress your ego, walk far away from the child and think because you're teaching your child to abuse their child. We're teaching their child. We as a community have to rise beyond this madness. We were taught to whip our children by the enemy. Grasp this, people. These people at that time were our enemies. They were not the good guys. This is not a way they've taught generations of us this amazing, horrific lie. Two, love and abuse cannot coexist. It is an impossibility. You love someone, truly love that person. You never want to see them hurt. So you're going to try and find other ways to communicate with them. We need to take away our egos from the situations. My brothers and sisters who are parents, when you get mad at them, because children do crazy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
walk out of the room, go downstairs, go outside, get a drink, play golf, play football, do something else. And when you're completely calm, come back and speak to that child.
Mm-hmm.
We must start speaking to each other from a place of love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see any more of brothers and sisters hurt.
Not hearing.
And for that matter, it's okay for a dad. Listen, my father, it was very funny. My father was old school, but he was liberal. He never hit us. Never. But you know what? I used to hug and kiss my dad, and he hated it. And when he was a grown man, I would kiss him on his cheek because I love you. All these mixed messages are sent to us by the enemy to control this. This is our
Mm-hmm.
greatness.
Yeah.
This is irrelevant color. This is our power.
Yeah.
And the duty of the liar is to tell you you have no power.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for every single color, race, class, creed, because they want to repress your brain. They want to teach you to repress your children's capacity to reason and think.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the geniuses we've come across. They were all cray-cray. They were all a little nuts because they were given that freedom to think. Your children are people. They're not clones of you. They're not going to see the world the way you see the world. It's not
Mm-mm.
possible. They're a combination of different genes and different histories. Speak to your children from a place of love. When you're angry, don't speak to them. Walk away. Just walk away. And if you really want to hit them, just remember when your parents hit you, if it helped. Because I don't know no pitney whose parents beat them and that beating worked. It doesn't work. It's the lie the slave master taught. And then he took the beautiful word and manipulated it to reinforce his reason
Mm-hmm.
for telling you to beat your children.
Yeah.
Love your children. Honor them. Teach them their greatness. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to have taken over. I am very
You
passionate about
didn't.
this.
You didn't take over.
I
Actually,
love people and I love children. And when I see this, I am bewildered.
yeah, you didn't take over at all. I appreciate everything you said.
I just don't want to sound as if I'm preaching. I'm
You're
just
not.
saying,
You can sound if you're preaching, if
I
you
just want
want.
us to
It's what you
understand.
believe in.
Those anytime you're conflicted, those two simple things, just remember, what is what I've lived? It's what I've lived. It makes no sense. We have created generations of amazing human beings who can't think because they were flogged into a corner. And they're confused because how do I say, this is how I see it. I'm a dad, I have a girl. I beat her. In beating her, I say to her, I love you. I'm telling her that when she's with her husband, he can beat her too because he
Mm.
loves her.
That's true.
We're telling lies to our children.
Can I just say something?
You
Because I
say
have
to
to
your
go
son,
get ready now to leave.
go ahead.
Sorry,
I
Peter.
apologize.
No, man.
I love you, baby. No problem.
Aisha. I
Mm-hmm.
want to keep to make. I like to make sure I pronounce people's names right.
You're fine.
Um, the fear. I heard you talk about the fear earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned in the chat, maybe I do this easier than most. I don't know. I I take it you're a Christian because I hear you speak.
I
And
believe in the. I often say I believe in the triune God. I believe in God the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. I don't like the label Christian because so
well,
much comes with it.
listen, I don't get into that
Yeah,
because what it is what it is. The definition of a Christian is a follower of Christ. Do you follow Christ? If the answer is yes, you're a Christian.
okay.
Simple. I try
But
not to
Christ wasn't a
complicate things.
Christian. He was a
Okay?
Jew.
Huh?
I said,
Doesn't
but
matter.
Christ wasn't a Christian. So
No, no, no. The term Christianity came about. It's mentioned in the book of Acts. The first time it was used in the church of
yeah,
Antioch. But that's gonna just make
yeah.
me digress from what I want to say. Um, I for 36 years, I got saved when I was 10. But I walked two sides of the fence between doing what I want and following God. Peter can tell you, he's been my friend from I was 10 years old. And I remember there were four scriptures that kept me for that 36 years. The only four scriptures I could ever remember. Genesis 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the earth. And I just stop right there. So because I say, if he make it, he can fix it when anything go wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. I said, all right, God, me can use that kind of love there. Or I don't know if, sorry, I slip into my Jamaican dialect. I hope you
No, I
understand.
understand.
You can use that kind of love. I said, God, I need that kind of love in my life because I was going through a lot of abuse and all the stuff that I didn't know how to process. And it helped me because knowing that he loved me and knowing that I had this kind of love available to me helped me to process a lot of things that I was going through at the time.
Mhm.
The other two are Hebrews 11:1 and verse 6. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, and without faith, it's impossible to please God. Though, me did always want to please God, so I tried to exercise faith as much as possible. At the time, I didn't realize that my level of disobedience at the time was really not exercising faith, but that was a desire of my heart. And I am a firm believer in the miraculous healing, in being, in letting go things. Because you see, for me, Aisha, I was never a burden bearer. And it would took me 40 years to remember the scripture that I heard in the bus that caused me to give my life to Christ. And the scripture was, take on his burden, for it is light, and take his yoke, for it is easy. To this day, all my friends will tell you, if Sylvia have a car, she will load it up with everything you want. But if she not driving, don't ask her to carry anything. Because I don't like to carry weight. The only burden I carry
That's actually very
is a
true.
prayer burden, don't it, Peter? You know, I
It's
don't
true.
listen. I will be with visit Peter in Montego Bay, and he want to give me all kind of things. You let me get this way. I'm saying, listen, boss, is boss are checking to go back, no. And as much as I need it, I'm not going to take the bus with a load, right, Peter? You know that's true, right?
It's true.
But
It's very true.
the only
It's
burden
true.
I allow myself to
It's true.
carry is the burden of
It's
prayer.
true. I agree with you.
I,
No.
so you see, as I said, maybe it is that I just have a simplified view of how faith and miracles happen. I believe that you can be free of this fear, that you don't have to, if you hear a sound, wonder if it's coming at you. I don't believe that you have to live that way. I believe, based on what you said, you have made tremendous progress in your life. I believe God gave you a king to stand beside you and help you through this. And I can tell you, he is one in a million. Just based on what I have picked up. I don't know him, I've never met him, neither online or anything, but I just, how you talk about him is how I talk about my husband. Right, Peter? Because I know the struggles
I'm going to say
of
no.
um trying to go through something alone and not
Mhm.
being able to process what you're going through. And one of the things I personally have to be careful of is that not dealing with the issue, I might forget about it,
Mm-hmm.
but haven't dealt with it. So I have
Mm-hmm.
learned to just try and face my issues head on. The people in the church I used to go to tell me that I am the most fearless person they know. But it's not really that I'm fearless. I just believe that, okay, God, you say you're with me. I just, this is a shameless plug here, but just bear with me. I just published my book at midnight on the threshold of light on Amazon. But one of the things that struck me, there was a time, Peter didn't even know this until I told him the other day. I used to struggle with suicidal thoughts. I mean, I just don't know where they would just pop up in my head. And there was one verse that just kept me. Psalm 23, verse 4. For thou art with me, for thou art with me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, for thou art with me. And I used to say, for thou art with me, for thou art with me, so many times that I lost count of the amount of times I said it. I would just, whenever I find myself going through any kind of struggle, I go, okay, God, you are with me, you are with me. And I got a revelation while writing the book about I am. He said to Moses, I am, I am that I am. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, God, why you call yourself I am? And it occurred to me, I am is a present continuous tense. He's a present continuous God. He's not the I was. He's not the I'm going to be sometime in the future.
Mm-hmm.
He is the I am. And trust me, that brought and has brought a lot of comfort to me, because when you think about it, your present in a moment becomes your past. So
Mm-hmm.
he is always there. And so going through anything, I just have to say, for thou art with me. For
Mm-hmm.
thou art, and Peter knows in the last year to have been through a lot. And I still have to say, it is comforting to me. For thou art with me, for thou art with me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I've got to go. My ride will soon be here and I'm nowhere near ready. But I'm glad I got this opportunity to talk to you.
Me too. It was so nice to see you. I'm glad that you came up and shared. I appreciate you.
All right. Well, I'll see you on
Yes,
another chat. Okay.
most definitely.
Love you
Thank
till
you.
later, Peter.
Love you, baby.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So I definitely agree with um what you said. Yesterday was my first time, and I think I blurted it out. I have to go back and look at the lives from yesterday because I think I blurted it out about slavery and something, and it was all because it just kind of hit me at that one time, and it was like, whoa, I need to go back and look at that. But I do. But another piece, and I don't know if Sylvia can still hear, is the fact that her grandson was a teenager and he was exhibiting the behavior. And don't get me wrong, teenagers do what they do because they go through hormones and all of this. But something that my youngest daughter taught me, when she was diagnosed with autism, we started taking behavioral classes so that we could know how to appropriately discipline her, teach her, get her to respond to her name, to keep her safe. Well, they use the example of what they call neurotypical children, and how if you call their name one time, let's just say T, come here, he's not going to respond, because if he's gone majority of his life and I say T, come here, and he don't come, he knows that I'm going to call him again in a certain amount of time. It's almost like training an animal. Um, so it may be a 10-minute, 7-minute
Yeah.
pause. T, did you not hear me say come here? May not be anything. Third time, Tavares, did you hear me call your name, ma'am? He probably heard me 1 and 2. 3, still don't come downstairs. 4, if I have to come up them steps, it's gonna be a problem. By 4, and in between the fifth time of my foot being on the step, he's running out the room, ma'am, immediately. And that's just an example. But what has happened is, if that's the way we've talked for the first 7 years of his life, then he's trained me how to talk to him, versus me starting him out at a younger age. When I call your name the first time, you respond the first time. And that doesn't require a whooping. It's taught because when you come the first time, you give them something rewarding, not a task to do. And eventually it's stuck in their head.
Yeah.
My name is being called. Let me go see what's wanted of me. And when
Yeah.
I finally learned the concept, and I said it in class, I was like, I just raised 3 kids totally wrong. Like, totally wrong. But I didn't know um, that basically he trained me how, or they trained me basically how to parent them. So children don't come with the manual. However, if some stuff is addressed when they're younger
Yeah.
and fostered when they're younger and paid attention to when they're younger, we won't have any of those issues when they are older. Now, don't get me wrong, some issues just come with being a teenager, period. And especially if the teenager is a boy and he so happens to get to do something wrong, there's a whole nother attitude that comes with that, and you kind of know that they did something wrong because the attitude that comes with it is not acceptable. But there's been times I've threatened to take his Adam's apple out. I have done that. I mean, I hadn't done it physically, but he usually laughs at me because he knows I'm just joking. Because he's like, "Mama, you say the randomest stuff." I'll be like, "Keep on playing with me. I'm gonna take one of your kneecaps. You be around here, you know." But that's
I
just
mean,
me.
I can relate, but I think what it is normally when we have children, let's face it, I can't see the chat really, but the truth is when we have children, most of us had no plan that we were going to have a child. Let's just be honest.
Mhm.
It's very rare that people have children and it was planned. Even if you're married, the child tends to just come. And I think what happens is what happens is when you have the child, there is no because there's no plan of action. What you're going to do is going to go back to your basic training, then your programming from what your parents did and what your parents did.
Mhm.
And I think what I try to do is, and I'm still trying to do this, is to like I told both my girls from they were like 2, 3, you can tell daddy anything.
Mhm.
I will sad for a little bit, think about the process, then I'm going to come back and talk to you. I told them, if you don't like something that I'm doing, tell me you don't like it. So my 14-year-old always say, because sometimes I raise my voice, and I said, I'm sorry, I apologize,
Mhm.
because I want to. And I made a decision. She was in her mom's tummy. I literally said, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to speak to her no goo goo gaga
Mhm.
nonsense. We're going to talk to her, have conversation with her, speak with her, get her opinion. I remember when she was 2 years old and she was trying to get dressed. And she decided she wanted to wear what she wanted to wear. And the person assisting her said, no, baby. And I went in and I said, no, don't do that. Let her choose. It is the beginning of her process of evolving as a human being.
Mhm.
She has to choose. And that's the thing. Because generally we don't have a plan, we sort of just fall back into behavior. And that's
Mhm.
understandable. Um,
Mhm.
I remember my father never ever put his hand on me, but my mother saying, son, listen, I'm gonna kill you. I know you won't go and kill me. I know because I knew my dad. But what I'm saying is, what we have to try and do is we have to be, and that's why I said we have to be angry at our abusers. I wasn't talking about carrying around a burden because I'm not carrying around any burden. But you
Right.
have to be woke in the moment. You know what I'm saying? You have to be
Right.
woke. You have to remember, okay, this is what's happened. Because while you are bringing up your child, that memory has to be present. Everything wrong that your parents did, it has to be present.
I'm
You
sorry.
have to
Oh,
remember,
Drake,
this is
both.
why, this is what I didn't like.
Mhm.
It's just like my mom used to, I don't know if you guys experience, sorry.
I was just
Yeah.
saying, Drake said
When
both
I
of
hit
his.
my adolescent years, I slept. Of course, at the time, science didn't realize that the teenage brain sleeps more than a.
Hmm.
I'm not hearing you. I'm sorry.
Oh, he wasn't speaking. He just typed in the chat. Both of my kids were playing.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. It was like a delay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what it was, so because I used to sleep a lot, my mom would sneak into the bedroom at like, well, me and my brothers and bedroom. And at like 6 a.m. as the sun came out, and she would open up the blinds and she would say, "Get up out of your bed. You're being lazy." Now we know scientifically that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Teenagers sleep more than others because of the massive changes happening here and in their body. They have to
Mm-hmm.
sleep. They have no choice. And I think as we, one of the problems as parents, we have to keep woke. We have to keep, so when and it's when people see me with my child and I'll say X and she said, "No, daddy, I disagree." I've seen people go, and I'm like, "What are you talking about? She has a brain. She has to be able to express herself.
Yes.
She has to have that freedom. I'm not going to teach her to be afraid of the presence of a man." So
Yes.
what? So when some, because listen, I don't want to kill nobody's son, So I don't want no young man come along and try to abuse my daughter. You get what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I'm teaching her because the first love of a girl is her dad. The first of a boy is his mom.
Mm-hmm.
So we set a primary example for our children, and my job is to say, and I mean, she's never heard me raise my voice at her mom. Okay, I freely admit her mom run things. Yeah, right. You know what? How bad it was because I knew that my daughter, when I knew I was going to have another daughter, I played. There's a song by Harry Belafonte that she heard from she was in her mother's womb until she was about 7. It goes, "That's right, the woman is smarter. That's right, the woman is smarter." And there was a reason why I kept playing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because in our society, we tend to tell our girls that they're less than our boys. Another great lie
Mm-hmm.
sold to us by the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
We are both highly valued.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted my daughters to understand their power and their greatness.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I will fight. And that's why I'm sorry I got so passionate about that because I really
No,
think
I
we
agree.
as parents, and me as parents, I'm not just talking about your own biological children. Every child in your vicinity is your child.
Absolutely.
Every child. And that's another thing the great Western lie has taught us, that your child is your child. It's a lie. We
Absolutely.
need to see these babies as children. That's what they are. And if we as a
Yes.
community treat all children, our society evolves. It
Absolutely.
changes. You know. Anyway, I'm going on and on in your show.
No, I've
I
enjoyed you.
I love you, Queen Aisha.
I love
So
you
I'm going to
too.
go, but thank you. You know, it, it's appreciative. All right, and tell my bro Dre CEO we go meet soon at some. If it wasn't for COVID, we probably would have met already. I'm not
I'm
joking.
sure because
So
actually we were gonna
tell him
do
I
10
said hi.
days somewhere for our
Yeah.
anniversary, so I'm sure. But thank you for coming
All right.
up.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure.
Okay,
Take care.
bye. Guys, I thank you for staying with me today. CeeLo, I thank you for staying with me. It means a lot. I thank you for always being a listening ear. Um, Even off of YouTube. I appreciate it. I knew this topic would be kind of hard. Um, and the end goal, truthfully, was to eventually get to the whole relationship between August Alsina and Jada, but not to exploit or to gossip, but to show you how um, a lot of what happened to him, a lot of what he went through, a lot of what he experienced is what made him open and susceptible. And it's really not fair for me to do that and then not look at what Jada may have gone through. I do know that even though August is saying he wants to be healed, I listened to the song entanglement this morning with him and Rick Ross. And there is some work that that young man still needs to do. And I pray that he does it. But I'll never be silenced. Not when it comes to that, because I've seen too many lives change. I've had too many real conversations with the generations that is younger than me, simply because they feel comfortable enough to talk to me, and I'm open. And so this is what, I'll try to keep it upbeat, positive when I can, but some stuff we got to just address. And this is something that's going on in their era, someone that they know, and it needs to be talked about. So I will find out between now and Monday or Tuesday exactly what I need to do to be able to use part of that. I didn't get a strike, it was a copyright claim, which means if I ever get monetized, I won't be able to make money off that video. Okay, great. I'm fine. I don't care. I just need to make sure that if I get those, that they don't count against me, because I don't have to ever make money off those videos. Because my goal is to just pray that we can get this changed, y'all. Like, I just need us to understand that it's not okay, and that some of this stuff has been passed down from generation to generation to generation. With that being said, it's only 6 of us in the chat, and if you could just for 10 minutes, 10, preferably 15, but I ain't gonna even push it. Hey Cindy Randall, click the link in the chat and go to TR's channel and say love, power, raid. Talking about that love power. Talking about that love power. So if you guys could do that for me, I'm actually headed there now to do the same. I'd greatly appreciate it. I love you guys. Have an amazing Saturday. Enjoy your time together with your family. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for Soulful Sunday. Ooh. Bye. There's the link for you. Talking about that love power. Talking about that love power. I'm over here. Come on over, y'all. I'm here. Typing it in. Love Power Raid.